105.1 The Bull, Springfield's classic country. Hey, it's Cruz, and I have the pleasure of talking to country music superstar Collin Raye, who, by the way, going to be in town Saturday night at the Branson Star Theater. It's going to be a great show. Tickets are on sale. They're limited too, so be sure to get them while you can. You can do that at thebull1051.com. Collin, first off, thank you for taking time for us today. I really appreciate it. And what have you been up to with all this COVID stuff going on this year? I know it's kind of throwing a wrench in your touring.
Well, we lost over 80 days, but hopefully most of them we think will be rescheduled next year. On paper, we should have a busy year unless something bad happens and they pull us back, pull it down again. But we're hoping for the best. The one thing musically that's kind of kept me engaged, though, is when the pandemic began, we were finishing up an album, the first album of brand new music that I've had in over 10 years. And so, the mixing process and the final vocal process and all that has kept me engaged in that and working on that, even though we didn't have the tour dates to go along with it, So that album now is ready to come out. It's, but that's why I've been doing a lot of media and a lot of press for that. And so I've just been trying to stay positive and focused on the new album so that I don't get too depressed about the loss of the dates, the concert dates, But man, got one coming up this weekend in Branson, and we're so happy to have it. We had 4 shows in October, which, from what I understand, compared to most people, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Through this year, and so we have had a show here and there just to kind of keep us from getting rusty, But I'm looking forward to being there this weekend.
Well, we are super excited to have you. Now, you did mention you've got a new album out. It's called Scars. Where did that album title come from?
There's a title song in there called Scars, and my brother wrote that song about 18 years ago when he was writing for my publishing company, and we've always loved the song, and I just never really felt like the time was right to put it out until now. And my brother, Scotty, has worked with Miranda Lambert since Miranda was a kid and been with her the whole time, and they're very close. And she had actually sang the song Scars at writers' nights and like acoustic, songwriter nights and things like that. And she had mentioned that she might record that herself at some point, but she always felt like she was too young because the song is about, a guy or someone looking back on their past and the emotional scars and as well as physical scars and whatnot that you develop over the years, and instead of hiding them, just embracing them, and learning to live with it, because that's what makes us grow and builds our character, et cetera. And so it's a really deep lyric, and Miranda always loved it. And so when I recorded it, me and Scotty, our first thought was like, wow, do you think Miranda would sing on this with me? And she did it and said yes immediately and came in the studio and put down just a wonderful, wonderful vocal on it. And that's the title cut of the album. And I just thought, at the age I am, I turned 60 years old in August. The name Scars is a good name for this album because I got a few too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We all do.
Now, Vince Gill, he's also featured on this new album, Scars. Is that correct?
Yes, he sang on a song called Rodeo Girl, which is this kind of Western swing thing we wrote. And that was really cool to get Vince in there again because, the reason I say again, it was kind of a full circle moment because Vince sang on my very, very first single, All I Can Be Is a Sweet Memory, back in 1990, which I couldn't believe that happened at the time. It was through my producer friendship with him that happened, and that's the first time I ever met Vince. And over the years, I just knew Vince, but you never think that's going to happen again. But Vince is always so generous with his time and his voice. I don't think there's ever been any music artist who has appeared on more records than Vince Gill has,
Yeah.
And so it was real cool to get him back in there again, and he sounds so good on that particular song, So again, like the Miranda thing, it just adds an element of coolness that wouldn't be there otherwise.
It's funny you mention that because I talked with David Nell about Vince Gill, and David mentioned how he wanted him to record a song for his new album, but he was scared to ask him because he didn't want to be the first artist to ever hear no from Vince. But of course, he agreed to it.
I honestly think Vince enjoys singing harmony more than he does singing lead. And he's just one of those guys. He's a musician first, and he loves to be able to blend with people. That's why he's a perfect fit for the Eagles, because the Eagles are so much about harmony. And so he's kind of was a good decision to bring him in after they lost Glenn Frey, So, but he's just great. And the thing about Vince too is, as old as no matter how many years have gone by, he still sounds like Vince Gill. He still hits the same notes, and he's one of the few men on earth who can sing higher than me. Because I sing pretty high too, and he can get above me and do a harmony above me, which is pretty cool.
Is it hard to keep that higher harmony as you get older? I know a lot of singers that struggle with that.
I've been very, very blessed. I sing really hard. I push a lot of air out when I sing. That's kind of my style, and it takes a toll on you because it's when I'm done with a show, I'm tired because I push so much air out when I'm singing. But I think it's just by the grace of God that I still can, because I can still hit all my same notes the same as I did when I was in my 30s, and when a lot of those records were being made. I still do it. I don't think we've had to drop the key on anything so far, and I hope I can keep that up. At some point it happens. Even the great tenors. I remember watching Don Henley. Speaking of the Eagles, I saw Don Henley about maybe 4 years ago when he had that album Cass County came out, and he was on, I think, Ellen or something, and so because Henley was on there, I watched it, and he did his new song, and then Ellen had to ask, hey, can you sing Boys of Summer before you leave? And he was like, sure. So they did Boys of Summer, but it was way lower.
Yeah.
It was like two chords, 2 steps down. And I thought, wow, even Don Henley had to lower a key. So when I saw that, I thought, okay, well, at some point I'm going to have to do that too. But so far I've been lucky.
Now, Collin, I have seen you live on the Roots and Boots tour with Sammy Kershaw and Aaron Tippin. And the music was amazing. It was like a nice acoustic set. But really what my favorite part was you guys just interacting between songs and cutting jokes and really just kind of busting each other's chops.
We hear that all the time. And Sammy's such a funny storyteller anyway. We're like brothers at this point where we kind of pick on each other and make fun of each other, and I think that's the camaraderie of the Roots and Boots show is what sells it the most. And again, we're not trying. That's just how we act.
Yeah.
But I think people can pick up on that, and in fact, most of the shows, I'll say probably 70% of the shows we lost this year were Roots and Boots shows. And it'll probably be that way next year. 70% of what I do next year will probably be that, because it just keeps on working. And people, it's a real bargain too, for promoters and the ticket buyers. If people are going to buy the tickets, they're like, well, we're getting 3 artists we know for the price of 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just a good show, and we try to keep it fresh and change things up a little bit, to where the ending's always different. And we have a great band that goes with us. So I'm just proud to be on it. I've been on that tour now for about 4 years.
Now, Collin, you've had a great career. Are there any songs that you have passed on that you wish you hadn't?
Oh, man, I passed on a few that were hits, or actually early on. Meet in the Middle by Diamond Rio was pitched to me first.
Wow.
And I passed on it not because it wasn't a great song. I just felt like it was a group song, because it just sounded to me like something a group should do, as opposed to a solo artist. And I'm glad I did, because it went on to be a big hit for them. But I honestly don't think it would have been as big a hit for me as it was for Diamond Rio, because it just sounded, Marty Rowe, just the way he sang it, that thick, wonderful harmony that they have. I don't know. It was meant to be that song was meant to be for them. Another one I remember I passed on was a Toby Keith song, and We Were in Love.
Yeah.
And he had a hit on it, and he sang it great. To me, just didn't do it for me. Sometimes you just hear a song and you go, you have to be conscious enough as an artist to listen to something and go, yeah, this is a great song. I can see why you're pitching this to me, but I don't think I'm going to sell it. I don't think it doesn't fit me. As it'll fit someone else better. And that's the way I always tried to operate. So even though I did pass, and there were some others too, but even though I did pass on a few, I never regretted it, because if they went on to be hits for somebody else, then they landed where they were meant to land.
At what point during your career did you realize you'd really made it in the industry?
There was a few moments like at Love Me, when Love Me went to number 1 and stayed there for 3 weeks. I thought, okay, I'm here. I got a career now. And I knew we were going to be able to keep that going to some extent. Now, how long, you never know, but that was the first time I felt that feeling. And I think, too, when we did, I had my first 3 albums, all were platinum, million sales, and so that was a pretty good start. And we did the first Greatest Hits album called Direct Hits, and it went double platinum. And then the next album was I Think About You, and that went double platinum. I think at that point I thought, yeah, I guess I'm one of them now.
Yeah.
Because, that's a lot of records to sell in your first 5 albums, And so I think those were moments I remember feeling pretty entrenched at that point. But even then, I knew it was going to go away at some point. Like Vince says, he says, radio stopped playing Elvis at some point, so they're going to stop playing us. The greatest of the greats of all time, Merle Haggard, eventually they stopped playing his new music. So no one lasts forever. So, you hope you do enough good work up to the point that happens, that you have a career to live on, and that you can continue. And again, that's when some of these guys were still alive and still out there touring. Well, like, okay, let's say Willie. Willie's still going strong. If you go see Willie Nelson, yeah, if he wants to do something new, he's done. You're happy to hear it, but you're going to get to hear all those songs.
Yeah. Or
the majority of them. You're going to hear On the Road Again. You're going to hear The Party's Over. You're going to hear Crazy. You're going to hear Whiskey River. And so that makes people feel good. People that are fans of that music or a particular era, they come and hear you sing all those songs, and it puts them in a good place. Like watching an old movie that they loved a lot when it came out. And how many times we do that? We'll be flipping TV and you'll see an old movie you've always loved. You go, oh, come on, turn it up. And then you watch it all over again because it just takes you to a good place, And so I feel like that's what our job is at this point, is to just be reminded of, hey, if people still want to hear us out there and people still want to come pay their hard-earned money to come see this show, we need to make sure they experience that and they get that throwback, that good feeling, that comfort feeling by listening to our music again.
Absolutely. It's almost like I always call it a time machine, but especially this year more than ever, a lot of people struggling and stressed out, and movies and music really just a great release and escape for so many, myself included. So that's why we're looking forward to Saturday, one of the many reasons. But what can our Bull Nation expect at the concert this Saturday night from you?
Well, this one is an acoustic show, so I'm not bringing the full band on this. It'll just me, my fiddle player, and piano player will be with me, and me on guitar. I have to say, we have a really strong acoustic show. I think my music kind of a lot of my songs kind of lend themselves to that kind of treatment, where it's really living room oriented, where it's I try to make you feel like I'm in your house or you're in my house, and I'm very open and talk a lot to the audience and try to make them feel welcome. And so I feel like it's going to work really well there. And I will play as many of the hits as I can squeeze in. I mean, I try to play the ones that I know people are going to want to hear, the ones they expect to hear. I will be playing a few new songs from the new album, give everybody a little sneak preview of that, and then I like to throw a few covers in once in a while too, just some things that I've always loved that I think, again, I feel like fit the acoustic setup, that kind of unplugged setup. We always get great responses on these acoustic shows, and I've actually played that theater before. I did a series of Christmas concerts there years ago, and I know it's a beautiful, beautiful theater. So I hope everybody will come out and just, like you said, it's about escaping right now. Coming to see live music, I don't think there's any better escape than live music, I think people need that right now. They need to be able to forget about all this junk for a little while. Come enjoy themselves and forget the nonsense and come be around people. And music is such a great healer too. I don't know if there's a more powerful healing force on earth than music. It just takes you to a good place.
So the new album, Collin, Scars, it is out. Where can our listeners listen to it and purchase it at?
Just go to the website. I'm so illiterate when it comes to social media and online stuff, but the one way I know for a fact is you can just go to my website, collinraye.com, and there'll be a link on there they can sample some of the stuff. You can order it on there. I think there's a link to the social media things if you want to do that, but just collinraye.com is the fastest way to do it.
I tell you what, we'll share information on our website as well for the new album, Scars. Also, grab your tickets to see Collin Raye at Branson Star Theater Saturday night. That will also be at thebull1051.com. It's going to be one concert you're not going to want to miss. Collin, as always, thank you so much for your time today, sir.
Thank you, brother. I sure enjoyed it. I'll see you Saturday.
We'll see you Saturday. Thanks, Collin.